Today's headlines reveal a world grappling with conflict and change. We'll explore the escalating violence in Gaza, the humanitarian crisis in Sudan, and the recent G7 summit discussions. Here are today's top 10 stories you need to know. International aid organizations are ramping up efforts to provide assistance to regions affected by conflict and disaster. With millions displaced and in urgent need of support, humanitarian efforts are critical. Recent reports indicate that funding shortfalls are hindering the delivery of necessary services. As organizations work to coordinate their responses, challenges such as access and security remain paramount. Efforts to mobilize resources and raise awareness about these crises are underway. The global community is being called upon to contribute to relief efforts. As the situation evolves, the effectiveness of these initiatives will depend on collaboration and commitment from various stakeholders. The coming weeks will reveal how well the international community can respond to these pressing needs. Countries in South America are grappling with severe economic challenges, a situation worsened by ongoing political instability and external pressures from global markets. Inflation rates have surged to alarming levels, significantly diminishing the purchasing power of citizens across the continent. In response, governments are implementing stringent austerity measures aimed at stabilizing their economies, but these actions have led to widespread social discontent and protests. Citizens are increasingly vocal in demanding better living conditions and economic reforms. The international community is closely monitoring these developments as they could reshape trade relations and regional partnerships. In an effort to mitigate the crisis, several nations are seeking financial assistance from international institutions, including the IMF. The coming months will be pivotal in shaping the region's economic recovery and determining whether these nations can emerge stronger from this turmoil. Political unrest continues to shake Eastern Europe as protests erupt against government policies, fueled by widespread dissatisfaction among citizens. Rising living costs, exacerbated by inflation and economic mismanagement, have left many struggling to make ends meet. Corruption scandals have further eroded trust in government institutions, prompting calls for reforms and accountability. In response to the unrest, authorities have deployed heavy police presence in major cities, leading to violent clashes between demonstrators and law enforcement. Opposition parties are rallying to form a united front against the current administration, seeking to capitalize on public discontent. Analysts warn that if tensions escalate, the region could face significant instability, potentially affecting neighboring countries. International observers stress the importance of dialogue and a peaceful resolution to prevent further violence. As the protests continue, the government faces increasing pressure to address these public grievances, and the outcome will likely reshape the political landscape in Eastern Europe for years to come. The world is grappling with a series of extreme weather events, highlighting the urgency of addressing the climate crisis. Recently, unprecedented heat waves in Europe, devastating floods in South Asia, and rampant wildfires across North America have underscored the escalating severity of these phenomena. Scientists warn that such events are becoming more frequent and intense due to climate change, driven largely by human activities like fossil fuel consumption and deforestation. Communities are struggling to cope with the aftermath, facing destruction of property, loss of life, and displacement. Economies are also feeling the strain, with damages running into billions, affecting livelihoods and infrastructure. Governments worldwide are being urged to take immediate action to mitigate these impacts, with international summits convening to discuss strategies for reducing global carbon emissions and enhancing community resilience. As the climate crisis deepens, the need for collective, decisive action becomes increasingly clear. The next few years will be critical in shaping policies that can effectively combat these pressing challenges. The ongoing global conflicts are beginning to have a significant impact on the world economy. Rising oil prices and supply chain disruptions are contributing to inflationary pressures in many countries. Analysts warn that if these conflicts continue, the economic repercussions could be severe, with potential recessions on the horizon. Major economies are struggling to adapt as energy costs soar, affecting everything from transportation to food prices. Central banks are under pressure to respond, leading to discussions about interest rate adjustments to stabilize markets. The interconnectedness of the global economy means that no country is immune to these challenges. As nations grapple with these issues, cooperation and strategic planning will be essential. The coming months will be crucial as governments assess the impact of geopolitical tensions on their economies. Stakeholders are urged to prepare for continued volatility in the financial markets. Tensions in the Taiwan Strait have escalated significantly, marked by increased military activity from both Taiwan and China. This situation has drawn international attention as the potential for conflict raises alarms among global powers. Taiwan has bolstered its defense preparations, recognizing the growing threat from China, which has conducted extensive military drills near the strait. Historically, the Taiwan Strait has been a flashpoint due to China's claim over Taiwan, which it views as a breakaway province. Analysts warn that the risk of miscalculation remains high, with military maneuvers potentially leading to unintended confrontations. The United States has reiterated its commitment to support Taiwan, complicating an already tense geopolitical landscape. As diplomatic channels are tested, both sides must navigate this precarious standoff carefully. The international community is urging restraint and dialogue to prevent further escalation. The ongoing military movements not only threaten regional stability, but also have profound implications for global trade routes. In the coming weeks, the situation could significantly influence international diplomatic relations and security policies in the Asia-Pacific region. In a significant update, Ukrainian officials have announced a new military strategy in response to ongoing Russian aggression. This plan includes bolstered defenses and increased cooperation with international allies, reflecting a proactive stance against threats. The need for enhanced military readiness has become paramount as tensions continue to escalate, particularly following recent incursions by Russian forces. The Ukrainian government is actively seeking additional support from Western nations, emphasizing the importance of a united front against external threats to its sovereignty. Recent military exercises have showcased Ukraine's preparedness, demonstrating both strategic capabilities and the resolve of its armed forces. Analysts suggest that this strategy may lead to a shift in the balance of power in the region, potentially deterring further Russian advances. Observers are also closely monitoring potential reactions from Moscow, which has historically responded aggressively to perceived threats. The implications of Ukraine's new approach could resonate throughout Eastern Europe and beyond, with increased military collaboration likely influencing NATO's strategic posture. As the situation unfolds, the West's commitment to Ukraine will be critical in shaping future dynamics. At the recent G7 summit, leaders, including President Trump, reached a consensus on a renewed approach to the Iran deal, aiming to address the escalating tensions in the Middle East. Historically, the Iran nuclear agreement has been a contentious issue, with the U.S. withdrawing in 2018 under the Trump administration, which led to increased hostilities and regional instability. The G7 discussions emphasized the necessity for a comprehensive strategy that ensures not only Iran's compliance with nuclear restrictions, but also addresses broader security concerns, including terrorism and missile proliferation. Critics remain skeptical about the feasibility of the new agreement, pointing to previous diplomatic failures, while proponents assert that engagement is essential for peace. The implications of this renewed deal could significantly affect global oil markets, as Iran is a major oil producer, and international relations, particularly between Western nations and Middle Eastern countries. Analysts are closely monitoring Iran's response and the reactions of regional players like Saudi Arabia and Israel. Moving forward, sustained negotiations and the possibility of sanctions will be crucial in shaping the future of this agreement and maintaining stability in the region. Recent reports from Sudan reveal a harrowing toll of over 1,000 civilian deaths due to drone strikes in the first 5 months of 2026. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights highlighted this alarming statistic during a recent briefing, emphasizing the escalating nature of the conflict. The use of drones has transformed the battlefield, resulting in indiscriminate attacks that have devastated civilian lives and raised ethical concerns about modern warfare. Human rights organizations are calling for an urgent investigation into these attacks, urging the international community to intervene. The situation is compounded by widespread reports of sexual violence and human rights abuses in the region, underscoring the dire humanitarian crisis. As the conflict continues, many civilians are fleeing their homes in search of safety, with millions displaced and living in overcrowded camps. The humanitarian crisis is deepening, with inadequate access to food, shelter, and medical care for those affected. Efforts to broker peace have stalled, leaving a power vacuum and escalating violence. The international response remains critical as the situation evolves, with hopes for renewed diplomatic engagement. With the potential for further escalation, immediate action is essential to prevent a full-scale catastrophe in Sudan. In a devastating turn of events, Palestinian authorities have reported that over 1,000 individuals have lost their lives in Gaza during the recent ceasefire period. This shocking figure underscores the dire conditions facing civilians caught in the crossfire of ongoing hostilities. The violence escalated dramatically as negotiations aimed at solidifying peace broke down, leading to renewed clashes between Israeli forces and Palestinian groups. International observers have expressed profound concern over the increasing casualties, highlighting the urgent need for humanitarian assistance. The humanitarian crisis continues to deepen, with hospitals overwhelmed by the influx of injured civilians and essential supplies dwindling rapidly. The international community has called for immediate action to restore peace and provide aid to those affected, but efforts have been hampered by ongoing tensions. Meanwhile, the Israeli government has reiterated its stance on national security, complicating the path to constructive dialogue. The implications of this conflict extend beyond borders, threatening regional stability and straining international relations. As the situation unfolds, there is an urgent need for diplomatic engagement to prevent further loss of life. In the coming days, we anticipate increased efforts from global powers aimed at achieving a sustainable resolution, with a focus on establishing a lasting ceasefire and addressing the underlying issues fueling this prolonged conflict. Thank you for joining us today. Which story shocked you the most? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.